right, it's time for another episode of the PEBAheads, and Scott and I have a very special guest back to the podcast. It's Lenny from Bakersfield.
Oh, like I said before we
Lenny.
started filming, it's like the
Hey,
water's warm still. Good
no, we're
to
gonna
see
have
you
fun.
guys. I'm so
Yeah,
excited to be here.
Yeah, it's
we're
been
gonna
a
have fun.
long time.
Yeah,
Long time,
yeah.
and get to catch up and have fun talking about Bakersfield because,
I mean, because
uh,
who doesn't have fun talking about Bakers?
well, I mean, you had a lot of fun articles in the off season about Bakersfield, and then of course
Yeah,
on your guys' podcast, you get to talk about it. But you're we're starting to see the draft picks start paying off,
how
and
about that?
it's there's progress being made there, so it's
I
exciting.
let's lower our expectations by about 30%, and we'll start from there.
Well,
It's so great. I was telling
that's a
you
good
guys
way to
off
start
camera
this,
too.
Lenny. So I was looking
Oh,
over the team history. So Bakersfield has 20 playoff appearances, two championship rings.
mhm.
Your last playoff appearance was in 2035 with 89 wins. And then last
Yep.
season you had 78 wins, which was the highest total since that last. Are things turning around? You got
Um,
a lot of very young, talented players on your team. Do you see
yeah.
like you're taking that next step forward this season?
When you throw stats out like that, there's one of the main factors from, Bakersfield's kind of glorious past is the difference is me. And so since I took over 2 years of riding the coattails of a Vail GM and then kind of like learning how to play the game in essence. I'd like to think we're definitely turning a corner. I mean, we were doing that fun thing yesterday on Discord where we were listing like what was in the draft, what was in that. It felt like a Facebook survey, but it was kind of cool. And so to see that many draft picks finally turning out after just kind of bombing on a lot of them, like not knowing, people like Jason Bentley and Ida, something like that. I can't remember. All good players that just didn't pan out. I think a lot of it being able to not be in character on this is so great that I can talk about the game in a different way. I mean, so the idea of me kind of going, oh, okay, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and that makes sense. It's kind of the evolution of me as a GM playing the game, and then now adapting to a game that is adapting at a higher level every year. Um, to answer the
Well,
question in a shorter way, I do think we are turning around, and I don't think that I don't know if it's not a team good enough to compete. And the next 2 years will kind of show that whether or not either I'm ready or the team's ready to make that turn that corner. But a lot of first and second rounders now playing really young. I almost forget how young they are. Like Piper and Ito are just 23 and 24 years old. Like if I can figure out a way to keep them all signed and through all this, there's a good team under there. If the game mechanics allow, and if I can make some right choices. Yeah. I have
yeah,
to think they have to.
the Mang Sun acquisition, like
Uh-huh.
that seems to have
Terrifying.
worked out.
Well, yeah, it's crazy because I think about how good we'd be if my star ace was actually pitching well, and he's not. We're okay. Like we had the bad sim, they happen, right? We're back at 500, but 500 for me might as well be, give me a ring, right? I'll take the participation trophy for that. The main Sun signing after all the Joe Riley BS, either fake or real, was terrifying. And to trade just to get a chance to sign him, I mean, I feel good about it now. I mean, dude's lights out, you know, and if it keeps up, yay me. But even if it only lasts a year, it's a 3-year contract rather than me signing people for 10 years, 30 million like I used to be doing. So I'm growing up. I'm becoming a real boy. I'm no longer Pinocchio, right? So and I'm enjoying playing the game, you know.
That's important. Any
Mhm.
areas on your roster that you are looking to improve, that you would like to improve?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Looking at this last sim, which was my first losing sim at 2-5. Um, Out of the four or two and four, 2-5, 2-5. out of 4 of the 5 losses happened in the bullpen. And we've all been talking on here and on People Weekly, that how that bullpen, those bullpen arms. I mean, Scott, you spent all summer with Somey getting ready to try and either you're going to sign them, trade them, and then Scott or Scott, you do something with Moore, you did something with Shinseki, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that
That's
bullpen. And it was really interesting then looking at the stats of my bullpen. The ERAs are low. I'm like, this isn't a bad bullpen. And then you look under the hood and, batting average against and all that shit starts to pop out. And then the back end of the rotation, like I have to get somebody back there. I just did a trade oddly with Mike um to get I can't remember his name, Vieira, something like that. Um who pitched well for him this year but didn't fit. The good thing about Bakersfield is I can take risks on pitchers because the park. But I mean, we're third in home runs now, maybe fourth, but when Bakersfield's in the top 5 in home runs, the hitting isn't the problem anymore. You know,
Yeah.
um, I mean, I think you guys talked about it and you're really great in-depth deep dive last week. If Piper finishes with 45 home runs, what's happened since Barry and Ortega, but he could do it, but he's not that kind of power hitter. He's a power hitter, but more gap, which we talked about in detail. Um, I think it's built for the park, and if they're going to hit home runs, God bless them. But him and Ito in the top 5 in RBI, and then Son and Amano either is going to get hurt, I predicted, because there's something wrong with him, or he's going to wake up because he's a good player that wakes up. You know, but back end bullpen and maybe like a good solid third starter I could use.
Yeah, Piper. So it
That
looks
was
like
long. That was really long. I
his,
rambled there for a second. How long was I out?
yeah, Piper's got only 3 home runs at home, but versus 8 on the road.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's
clearly
tough. It's like
park
it's tough.
driven. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is I was trying to pick apart that sim last night too. If I was platooning right, my lefties hit lefties and they don't hit righties, and my righties hit righties and they don't hit lefties. Fuck, what?
That'll probably change over time.
Yeah, over time. I think that is a unique sample size, but as I was looking where to move people around a little bit, it was very informational sim though. I was very happy with for a 2 and 5 sim for me to go, oh, I think I may have seen something, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I hope we're turning the corner though. I really
And
do. It
this,
well.
seems like
That's kind of leads into a good kind of a topic that we had on the list, which is you've got the 12th overall pick in the upcoming draft. Does
yeah.
the way that your team's playing right now influence your pick? Like, do you go for somebody that can possibly jump in and help the team now versus a higher potential guy? Or
Yeah. You know, as we all talk behind the scenes, like 2 weeks ago, when I thought I was going to win the championship, I would have sold. Kidding, I'm totally kidding, by the way. Um, I was sold the boat to get somebody to help us now. I think I've drafted enough to help us now. Um, I mean, I fluctuate between 29th and 31st in the farm. I have to look at my farm system. I got like maybe 3 people that could make it work. And now that I have coaches in place that are good, I'm no longer terrified to draft a high schooler, and see how it
yeah, if I was
goes.
a betting man, I would say that there would be some pretty good high school
Yep.
players at that slot at 12,
Yeah, at
because
12
it
is
seems
safer.
like a lot of people have a fear of high school players
And
because
I
they're,
am one. I'm
yeah,
one.
start pitcher high school pitchers clearly have a higher burnout rate or
Yeah,
bust rate
yeah,
than college pitchers or college hitters. But
yeah.
I think, that was going to be my question for you is like, are you going to be looking for the best overall potential at that spot, or is you going to be drafting more on team need?
Um, it's interesting after my whole Piper debate, how dare I draft we were talking about it at the time. I was like, 5 aces, I have 5 aces. I don't need a home run hitter. Fuck the first baseman bullshit. Now I don't know how I would live or sleep at night without Wes Piper in my life. Um, but I definitely if something is glaring, like I can't believe that's there, you know, oh my gosh, I need to take them now because it's going to help me so much now that it is one of those indisputable, like, why the hell if a West Piper type player drops to 12, right? Magically. If not, I'm gonna go pure potential. I
Yeah,
really want
I remember when you got Piper, Sean and I were quite impressed with that player. But I can't remember, was he a developed player or was it all on potential that we liked at the
all
time?
for me, he was ready to go.
Okay.
I think he spent, because Sean and I had talked about it, I think he spent maybe a month in AA because that's where my good coaches were. And then like 3 weeks in AAA, and then at the back end, at the risk of taking away the Wunderkind award and all that, that nonsense. Not nonsense, but you know what I mean. I'd rather have a player developing at the major league level than in the minors waiting to get a Rookie of the Year award. Now, yeah, I took him because best bat ready to go. Because at that time I was collecting all these young guys, the ones that had developed in some way, shape, or form, either by luck or because they were there. Um, they were all hitting at this one time, and I was able to like somehow stagger um all the ages the right way that they would all hit at 23 years old, and they did. Amano and Jones and Alexander, who's playing like crap. Ito, Piper, Sanchez is hitting the crap out of the ball. Kyoki is, came out of college ready to go. There's a lot of people there um, that were able to help me now. And now I got to figure out who's going to help them next. You know, when Piper and Ito probably would be the two I hang, and Amano and Jones, if I can afford four, that would be it. Who's going to fill in when they're ready to, when they're 28 and ready to really go for a ring.
Yeah, because think about it, an 18-year-old, when they're 24, Wes Piper's 30.
Yep.
That's not quite over the hill.
No, not at all. Right. And that's the cool thing about
Right.
having these 22, 23-year-olds. I mean, I forget Ito is probably younger than Piper. I can't remember, but it's crazy as I was like, oh, they're going to start declining. And freaking Ito's 23 years old. I can't even sign him for more than 1 year right now. Like half these people have to go through arbitration.
Well, and
Because I
Justin,
can't do more. Go ahead.
Have you looked at the draft class much? Like I said, Sean and I have been looking at it quite a bit.
Yeah. I, I think I've been in shock and awe of what's going on in Bakersfield. I haven't, but I have started to look, knowing that, I know my philosophy's in place, players themselves, and it's always hard, right? Like sometimes you could pick the first five, blindfolded, right? But right now with the league so truncated and close, a lot of people are going to be, contender versus pretender. We all right now are kind of contenders.
Yeah.
So are you going to go for something that helps now when really I think I have all the pieces that help now when they wake up, when their sleeper cell button is clicked and they want to play, like they're kind of there. So I think I have to, unless it's obvious, go for a high potential whoever. Probably
Have you ever done the OSA mock draft? Because I did it, and it's hilarious.
I don't like them.
It's hilarious.
I'm
So
like,
I'm going to tell you mine right now.
oh.
So Yuma's selecting left fielder Manfred Gersten, 18-year-old. Okinawa is selecting third baseman Greg Lopez, 18-year-old. Arlington, with the third overall, is selecting Harry Bailey, an 18-year-old.
I bet he'd love that.
And that's
Harry.
So I think the two best players in the
I kind of
draft.
go, oh, that's cute.
I'm not afraid to say it because it would be a tremendous, injustice, but I would love it if either of these guys fell to number 9, which is where I'm picking. But Cliff Howard is the clear number 1 overall, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Harry Bailey
ready to go high potential. He's ready. Like,
yeah, despite him being a high school pitcher, which I know people that's going to scare some people away, but his potential is amazing. So I think that yes, he's got a higher chance to get a potential whack in the future because he's a high school pitcher. But
you're talking about Bailey right now?
Yeah, Bailey.
Yeah.
His potential is so great, and he's pretty well developed at 18.
Yeah.
I would absolutely pick him with the number 2 overall pick, Harry Bailey.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm looking at his stats now. Like, if his potential's through the roof, and then when you look where he's at with this,
Yeah, if he
he's not that
reaches
far down. I mean, at fours and fives across the board
right,
already in high school.
yep,
I mean, you really have to really start talking crap about his mom to piss him off enough not to develop. Right? He's halfway there, and for eights, nines, and tens across the board to be at 5 at 18.
right.
That's a risk I'm willing to take. If he's anywhere near you at 9, I would be shocked.
Right. No, I don't see how. But I do think
Yeah,
that there's a chance that some of the teams at the top of the draft are going to get scared away from a high school pitcher.
it is terrifying. I mean, it really is, having been there so often.
Yeah, when you see it happen
I,
to you and to previous drafts, and you're like, man,
yeah,
I just got burned on it before. I'm not gonna get burned again. So
yeah.
you tend to
Let's
lean towards the college guy.
I immediately bring up the name Jason Bentley, right? Like the no miss. I mean, he could play the field, but that was a bat. And maybe I was dumb, and maybe I wasn't, right? But a no miss bat at 18, you would think, just never did crap.
Yeah, well, one of the more interesting high school players that I see in the draft is that Manfred Gersten. I mean, he's got some serious potential, but once again, a high school player. How does that scare people away from an early round pick? I'm not sure. I know that I have been burned, by high school players getting
Yeah,
completely annihilated uh, within a season or two after I drafted them.
yeah. I mean, look at that again. The first thing I know I was looking for is those key positions we all know and talk about: center field, catcher, shortstop, and you know, looking for pure defense at those positions, and
There's not,
hoping that you can get some offense. But
that's
I
pretty
mean,
thin too.
yeah, other Casey maybe, but is he even a defensive player? Like, ish.
Yeah,
How's his defense? You got to work it. You'd have to put him in winter ball or development lab for years, hoping, you know.
it does seem like this draft class, much like the last few, I think maybe the last three, uh, are is pretty loaded at the top end.
Yep.
But last year's draft and the one before that seemed like they were deeper. Like
Yep.
they were. I was getting like fifth, sixth, seventh round picks of
Yep.
players that I looked at and said, "Hey, this guy could make the majors."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I'm looking through. It looks like it's going to be some slim pickings come sixth, seventh, eighth round.
Yeah. Now, and so it's interesting you talk about that. We talked a little bit off camera about it. So the cliff is bigger, but the game now, like we were talking, has this weird thing of like, oh, this person's really good, which is, I think, more like real life. Like all of a sudden that 15th rounder is a superstar. And I dig that, which kind of makes me go, maybe I should auto draft day 2 because some of these guys could be important.
Yeah, on my
The
team,
star thing.
my second best prospect, according to my scout, is a 15th round draft
Mhm.
pick from 2042,
Yep,
and
I saw
I
that.
can I can tell you that I didn't draft him. That was an auto draft. I don't draft in the
Yep.
15th round. That is on auto, and
No,
uh, or
I got stuff to do.
or it could have been sometimes on occasion. I do a lot of need drafting down there where I'll pick high school players to fill out my rookie league where I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I don't have
Yep.
enough, infielders to field, my rookie league team. So
Yep.
I'll select high schoolers that way late in the draft. But
Yeah.
I think these latest versions, I think with starting with 26 or maybe even 25, uh, there's much more likelihood that you're going to get a late round pick that becomes a very good player just through random increases in talent.
Yeah. And without the relying on stars as much anymore, I believe
Right.
that came up, and that stats matter. I see. I love that because in real life, they don't run around with stars above their head. You know what I mean? They run
yeah,
around. We go, they're hitting 380. Put them up. Now I can have a
yeah.
guy hit 380 at AAA. You put him at PEBA, they're like, what are you thinking? He only has 2 stars. Like I'd rather go by stats. I mean, if we're going by stats, I don't have that bad of a minor league system. They're
Yeah.
hitting the crap out of the ball. They're pitching. No, the pitcher's gonna suck, but all
Well,
of a sudden Bakersfield is where hitters live.
Yeah,
yeah.
speaking of stats, do you have any thoughts on the new percentile rankings? Because I think they're very, very interesting.
I saw you guys talk about this. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. It gives you a chance to figure out what it gives you, like a decent snow globe to look into, like when you should bail, when you shouldn't, that percentile thing is really great. And it's fun to see it fluctuate while you're playing good and not, to go, oh, they're in a slump, other than, oh no, they're just not as good as you thought they were.
Right.
Yeah.
It helps with the pitchers even more. Like Amano right now everybody's hitting the ball hard. So there's a problem. That's why I predict an injury coming.
That would be
Because
bad.
usually that's what happens. It's like, oh, that's why they pitch like crap, because they're hurt. Oddly
Well,
enough,
yeah.
just like in real life, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And I know Scott and I were talking about this the other day, but my third baseman, Julio Luna, you look at his metrics and it's like, holy crap, he's hitting the cover off the ball. And then you look at his expected batting average at 228, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, but that's still
When it,
that
speaking of
228 still
cliffs,
higher. Yeah, that's still higher than what his actuals are. And
Mhm.
then you take that next step of like, okay, he's hitting the
Yeah.
ball hard. What's going on? And then
Mhm.
like on what it ended up being is he has just had incredibly bad luck, because when
Yeah.
you go to his expanded uh stats and go to BABIP, he's at 193, and
Yeah.
last year was 287. So it's like, I'm hopeful that
Yeah.
the power numbers are all there. So
Yeah.
just getting he's hitting the ball at people. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's nice to have that extra layer of stats to kind of see, all right, I can look at certain things and I think I know what's going on, but this just gives
Yeah.
that another
No,
another
I
tool.
really think it's cool, as I start to, have more time in my life and things like that, to dig into the game more. That was just interesting in the game earlier too. It's like me to have a guy, to give it, because it's a hard game. This isn't risk. It's more Axis and allies, or it's not like Stratega versus risk versus that. You have to
Yeah,
really be to sit for a while. Nowadays I can sit and dig for a little bit and enjoy it.
that's the
Just
I think the part
it's
that
fun.
gets lost on people is like,
Mhm.
you have to, if you're not having fun, like what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like,
what's the point?
yeah,
What's the point? Not having a good time. What's the point? And the thing is like, and we've always talked about this. Like, I like if I never win if I ever win my first championship, if I never make the damn playoffs again, if I never finish above Scott again in my life, like I will always play this game in this league because you know why not? It's a good time to have. How many teams are there? 32, 31, whatever they are, that many people from around the world playing a game at the same time every week. Like I can't. I'm in fantasy leagues that 2 out of the 10 managers drop off the face of the earth. Every year. Always looking for two people. Always looking
yeah,
for two people.
yeah. Just to have, I mean, we have our, random someone will leave, but normally we're
Mhm.
able to fill it, and it's not a
And
revolving
it goes
door.
quick.
Yeah,
I mean, since I've been there, we've had and I've been here since 2019, 2020, right around there. In real life time. Um, what, 5 or 6, maybe?
yeah. I mean, it's not.
That's
Yeah,
it.
It's not a high turnover league, no.
No, I mean, and that says something, and that's a good thing. That's a good
yeah.
thing. I
And
mean,
it's
I love it.
good.
I don't know what I would do without. I would
Yeah,
be really.
and it's good on Mike and the board for when
Hmm.
people do apply, like
Yeah,
reviewing those things. And like, I know there's a questionnaire and different things that you have to fill out
yeah.
when you join, and
You have to do a writing sample and everything. I think I thought it was great.
it's just
So,
it just kind of it puts that little bit of extra effort in
mhm.
early on,
Yeah,
rather than just replying to some forum post
yeah.
that you want to join.
Yeah, and I think somebody said with us, or maybe it was with you, that's what makes it special, that you start to have a relationship with your players. Like when we interviewed freaking AI Pat Watson, I almost like researching that and writing that got emotional because it wasn't the Joe Riley joke. It was about this guy who's so looking good, a lot like Don Washington now out
Yeah.
again for a long period of time. You start to feel bad for him. And it was just an AI talking back to us. I was like, don't make fun of him, Mike. Stop it. Like, hey, but that's what's so cool about it, right? We have
Yeah.
a whole world. Dungeons and Dragons baseball, I've always said that. We have this whole world that we can live in. And simming 2 days a week. It drives me bonkers because everybody wants the dopamine hit of a sim, but really that having to wait, I think, is great because it makes me look more than I would look, makes me dig more than I would dig, you know, makes me write more than I would write or do podcasts or whatever, like, gosh, spend more time on this than I do talking to my girlfriend. So,
My only gripe is I like the slowness during the season. I don't like it during the off
yeah,
season.
no one does. No one
Yeah.
does. But I get it, taking like I know I like a little bit of a breather and to go, oh, I can go out to dinner tonight and not worry
Yeah.
about recording or worry about like being there, like just
Yeah.
take a couple off is nice. But 3 days a week is still pretty quick.
Yeah. It's there are constraints they have to deal with and schedule
Yeah.
life and
No, I
schedules
get it.
and it's
And I
it's
mean, even
hard.
the stuff we
So,
don't see, like the behind the scenes stuff, I can't even imagine doing that shit. Like
oh
just
yeah.
making software work. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I
I
know
mean,
like Mike is always like trying to balance when certain events occur
yeah.
within making sure they're on a weekend and then
Mhm.
that might mean breaking sims up and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's
For an
a
unpaid job, it's a full-time job,
yeah.
So
For a
that
hobby.
kind of love, that love kind of trickles down, and I think it has to,
Yeah,
even when
yeah.
people get frustrated and things like that, it totally makes sense why, you go, of course I'm not leaving. God, I'm not leaving
Yeah.
because there's so much going on behind the scenes that goes into it. If they can put that effort into it, you can put an effort to a podcast. We can put effort into a podcast. People put efforts into writing. It takes time. You might as well. Find
Well,
something
the
like
way
that people care that much, right?
yeah. And the way I've tried to view it, like tried to articulate this, it's like if someone's frustrated about something, that means they care. Like
Yeah.
if they could very easily just be like, I don't care about
Yeah.
this league. I
It's
don't
better
care
than that
about
for sure.
Absolutely.
anything. I'm done. Like
Yeah.
so even when you are like totally on opposite sides of
Yeah.
whatever is being discussed, like at
Hmm.
least both people care, give a damn
Yeah.
enough about it.
No,
Like
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's
because
a
I think
relationship. It's a bunch
like
of dudes playing online baseball. I
oh yeah.
mean, like we're not gonna bicker, but at the end of the day, it's fun. And God, like I said before, I don't know what I would do without it. So
Well,
much fun.
hopefully Dylan's feeling better, but I know I did want to touch on this with the draft pools.
Mhm.
Uh, well, I think the last one of the last times that we were doing a draft podcast, like it was we were talking about the loaded draft classes, and
Mhm.
Dylan made a point at that time saying like these are not going to last forever. Like there's
Yeah.
a 3 or 4 year window of this, and then they go kind of back to normal. And I think what we're seeing is that
He
kind of
called it.
going back to, yeah,
He
what
called
he
it.
told us was going to happen. So
Yeah.
I saw a couple teams that were very baffled by the draft pool, and it was just kind of like,
Yeah, you
what?
can't expect them to be loaded and deep every single year.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
It happens. And I mean, and for somebody who's so on the back end of the game like Dylan is, of course he can go, enjoy it while it lasts, man.
Yeah,
Like, like if we're talking about this 10 seasons from now, we have a problem. But now, and here it is. And now we're all going, what do you mean I can't get a starter in the fourth round?
exactly.
Unreal. Flip the table,
Yeah,
Remember before it was like, I can't believe there's a starter in the fourth round. And again, like we've always talked about, how to balance real versus game, how to get, you want to mimic real life as much as possible. And I think, again, with all its frustrations from version to version, this is the closest thing you're going to get, right?
yeah. Well, and
Because using
then
a controller ain't going to do it.
no,
Fantasy
yeah,
baseball ain't going to do it.
no.
You know,
And the bottom line is like for a professional baseball team to go from I'm deciding to tank or rebuild or whatever we want to call it to being good again. Like the Cubs and Astros did that almost perfectly, and it was a 5 to 6 year process.
Yeah.
So,
But before that, it was a 101-year process, right?
yeah.
So I'm on that timeline.
Hey, if
You
you
know,
beat 101 years, you're good to go.
you too can have a fucking nationwide favorite franchise.
Yeah,
I mean, the
we
people of
just need
Bakersfield aren't as patient as the people of Chicago, though. Because
we just need
God,
the
we
WGM.
lose 2 games in a row, the attendance has dropped. We're like, God, we
Yeah,
suck. I'm like,
we need
oh man.
whatever Bakersfield's what is it? Regional network, whatever that one is. That just needs to be the official home of the Bakersfield Bears, and then it magically
Yeah,
just
well,
balloons into.
that, my friend, is a two-way radio. Like, the CB is a bunch of truckers in our games. That's it. Oh
So
man.
a different subject.
Yeah.
There was a big discussion about league parity in the
Oh yeah.
Discord.
Yeah.
I think you guys touched on it in your
We touched on
podcast
it.
too.
We touched on it. Fact checking Mike wrongly, thinking Havana came out of their cave to talk smack about everybody, and it was Frank.
But I mean, Florida and the Ghosts, or the Avas too, really. I mean, the Ghosts had that one down year. I would say Florida and the Avas are probably two teams that have not really had a down season in quite some time,
Yeah,
right? But it seems like, like right now, West Virginia's on top. You know,
they
they
came
they
back too.
had they were like a 500 team for quite a while there, and it looks like they
Yeah.
may be turning the corner. I mean, there might be more parity than people think, right? Now I get it. Florida's been super dominant, and that can be frustrating.
Yeah.
The
But
Avas are,
that hung on to it. That hung
yeah,
on to it. I don't think like, and this is, I mean, the only person I did that yesterday too. The only person I traded with apparently is that. But I don't even know how that happened. Like he just has a bunch of people I want. And I don't know who I have that he wants, but it seems to work out for him. But I don't think anybody, and all due respect to that, thought that after Ken took his break, that that was going to keep it running. Because everybody talks about the draft, the Roberts Knopp and Van Mondel draft, right? That was the changing of everything. Brewster is on Thad's watch. Krebs was on Thad's watch. I mean, all these players, were great.
Yeah,
And
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 Jay,
Greg
like,
now having Greg back full time, shocked. I say shocked that West
yeah,
Virginia's good,
well, and like the thing I noticed when Jay first took over Florida and then Thad
Mhm.
continued
I
it
forgot about Jay, yeah, and Jay,
was
who I used to
like
touch on.
they had built up like that massive team, but there was a that gap behind it where some of these guys when they
Mhm.
start aging out and like you just said, Krebs is a guy that he brought in. He's been able to fill those depth pieces, and it's like,
And Brewster, we talked about that,
yeah,
like from like a 3-star to like the ace of the league,
yeah.
like clearly dude knows what he's doing.
Well,
So
then like you know, some of these trades, like that Hayakawa trade, like getting
yep.
another stud pitcher, like just it, I don't think people think that, and yes, like we were talking, before we came on, that money does help cover bad decisions, but it also like Florida isn't the top budget team in the league either, even though
Yeah.
they're like the most successful team, and they still
Well,
have
going
some
back to when I
constraints.
took over Bakersfield, we were one of the highest budget teams. Couldn't cover up my freaking choices, like, and that for once isn't even me making fun of myself. It's just the way it is, like you
Sometimes
have
having
to
too
have,
much money is a problem because you
yeah,
feel like you have to, if there's like, oh, this
spend it.
free agent that's available, I gotta go spend it. And it's like, is it the real right move for you at that time? I don't know, but like,
I mean, Joe Riley was one of the best jokes we've ever created, but like at the end of the day, I did that on accident because I had money. You don't make accident like Sun before I actually did that with that. Just like the option to sign him, right? Knowing that maybe I didn't want to compete in the free agent market. I thought about that for weeks because I was like, am I actually going to try and do this? And I got lucky, only wanted 3 years, but still at 30 mil almost for a guy that we didn't even know. Like what people did with him before I signed him was the smart stuff with Amsterdam, getting rid of him to go to Florida on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Those are just like choices that good GMs find, right? I just now scratching the surface of like maybe I should check the waiver wire every week. You
Well,
know?
it's just interesting because like Amsterdam being off to a real hot start, it's like
Yeah, I know.
what does their team look like if they would have just re-signed him?
You don't
'Cause
know.
they
I
have
mean,
the money. Like,
yeah, I mean, but they got so much for him,
yeah.
and they paid nothing for him. They did what I got both their guys,
Yeah.
Jaramillo and Son now. Who Jaramillo's fine. He's great being the bullpen, fine, right? I mean, a former ace at one point, but you get those two guys on the waiver wire and you get rid of them. I mean, I gave him Jim Marshall, who is a great prospect. I don't even know where he is now. I think he traded him, but like these are these are good moves that let you make other good moves that lead to good decisions that lead to good play.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
A wordsmith I am.
Well, I mean, Amsterdam, the pitching prospect doesn't look like he's going to probably amount to anything, but they got a fourth round draft pick out of it. So, like, that's huge. Like,
Yeah,
for nothing.
yeah, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
Like I keep going, don't trade your picks, dummy, don't trade your picks, unless they're really, really down there. The longest discussion Thad and I had was what round was I going to give him? And he was great about it. He was like, I'm gonna let him go anyway. What round am I going to give up to try and sign some? I think it ended up being an eighth if I got him in
Yeah.
eighth.
And I
So
think that's an aspect of the game that people don't look at often enough of the like there's only a handful of players that are worth really doing what you did.
yeah,
But when they are available, why not throw an eighth round pick and see what happens?
and see
Like,
what happens because I
yeah,
didn't have the money to compete, right? Even if I was going to get the max ask, which he would not budge, I had to
yeah.
reload the league file 35 times. I pissed him off so much, right? And knowing that one person going, I'll pay 31 for him would take me out of it completely.
Yep.
And I had to pay for that, right? And looking at the drop off after Ernie Smith was taken, why not take a flyer for 3 years on a team that's rebuilding ish? Could be turning the
Right.
corner. And now I got a guy that's got a 201, the only guy who's really carrying their weight, you know. I mean, he's doing it. He's playing like good, and his percentile markers are lining up like he's gonna have a good year, not a great year. I think he is pitching out of his mind a little bit, but even if he's around 2.8, 2.9, 3,
Yeah.
that's a win for me.
Yeah.
I'll take it every time.
Yeah, when
I was terrified, guys, terrified, terrified. Ask Mike. 2 in the morning going, I can't take some. What am I thinking? But who am I going to spend it on? A bunch of guys that are maybe okay, or
That's the thing.
a guy that has been an ace who needs to have a spot to play. There's been in Yuma and then bounced around for 2 years, or two teams in one season. Might as
Yeah.
well. For three
yeah,
years,
I
that's
had
nothing
multiple
for
guys reach out to me about my closer who was
him.
ready to be a free agent, and
Yeah.
they wanted to
Well, we
do the
talked
same
about him a
thing.
lot.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted to trade for him and then try and re-sign him, but he
hmm
was asking for 22 million a year for 5 years, and
Yeah.
then we did the version switch to 27, and he
hmm
dropped his demand to like 17 or something.
Feels
So
good, doesn't it?
yeah, so I threw him an offer of 15 for
Yeah.
three, and
And
he
he
said
bought.
he said yes, and I'm like, oh, done.
It
So
was
I
done.
I told multiple people, nope, not trading him. He just resigned.
No, no, and that's what you do, and if you hold out, I mean, when Brian was with us, holding out sometimes could do it for you. Whether it's your team starts to play good or the version change comes, and they're like, you know what, I'll be reasonable now.
Yeah,
You
so I
know,
mean, there's a lot of complaints about the version change, right, and wrecking players for you, but
yeah.
sometimes something good happens. I'm sure it was the
And I
version
think
because
that's the balance, right?
yeah,
I mean, we can obviously are gonna get mad but then all of a sudden something works out for you, you're like, it ain't that bad. I'm like, well, remember that.
Yeah.
right.
There's always going to be like just how much, time we all have invested in this. There's going to be prospects that you fall in love with, and
Yeah,
every version change hits somebody. Like,
yeah.
and but like on my team, I got this DH now that just called up Spencer Scott, and he was a guy I remember taking him late, and the only reason why I took him was because he cannot play any position at all, but
Yep.
he had one attribute that was really great, and it was his eye was a 9 eye. And I'm like, I'm just taking this guy. It's 17th round, whatever.
Yeah.
He throughout the minors put up good numbers, but then at the beginning of this year, I'm like, and towards the end of last year too, like he finished last year at AAA, he hit 390, 463 on base percentage, and then had like a 198 OPS plus,
Mhm.
and just 22 starts. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna put him on AAA again. So I've been like watching him, and all of a sudden I notice he goes from not ranked in the top 200 prospects to all of a sudden like right outside the top 100 to then a couple weeks later goes up again. He's up to the 14th rated prospect in the game right now. And if you go and look at him, like my scout has him as a 2.5 star guy, but if you go and look at OSA has him as like the stud, and I'm like, I'm leaning
Yep.
towards like I think in this version there's like OSA isn't as inaccurate as it used to be. Like there's a little
Well,
bit like you got to kind of look at
you
both
have to
now.
take into account, right?
Yeah.
I used to do that more, and I'm going to start doing it more again. Like taking breaks in the second round for me. I mean, in OSA, he's a top 5 pick, right? And but then I took Kyoki, who was like a top 10 pick, because not in OSA and using my scout, which I try to believe in. I just try to go, my scout's my scout. That's what real life is like. There is no such thing as backup plan, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to not use the resource we have. Okay. So, and getting breaks in the second round for me is a win because he was looking like a top 5 player until you click on the scout and everybody else is like, and is he going to pan out to be anything? Probably not. But I mean, that kind of fluctuation and the idea that, like what you did, that's what we all look for the late rounds. Or, and if you're not looking for it, maybe we should. I look for that one, like eye is a great attribute, right? On base percentage, money ball, right?
Yeah.
They can develop like a skill that they have that is unique. Be a home run, fine, whatever. But somebody who gets on base for over 4% of the time is
Crazy.
the lead athlete.
Yeah.
Only in baseball can you succeed at your job 1/3 of the time and be considered one of the best of all time.
Well,
So
I just
why
keep
not look
looking
at
at
that?
this guy's makeup, and I'm like, I need to see how tall he is. No, if he was a little bit taller, he's like a Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah,
Like he's just a good eye, three true outcome type guy. But
yeah. Who's
at
going
the
to
same
hit
time, it's like,
198 for you, but hit 988 dingers and you can hit 198 when you're on base 48% of the time.
yeah. And I mean, for a big guy, like he still gets extra base. Like he'll still get a double. Like when
Yeah.
he hits the ball, it's going somewhere hard.
When you
Like
hit the ball that far and it doesn't go over the fence, you could crawl to second base.
yeah.
Doubles. Okay, he's not gonna leg out many triples, even though Schwarber stole third the other night. But oops.
Last night he hit a double and the right fielder bobbled it and he decides, oh, I'm going to turn this single into a double, and he fell into second base, and it was just hilarious because it was just like
Yeah,
a good throw would have had him by a mile, but because
by
the
a
ball
mile.
he makes it in.
Lenny,
Oh
you
man.
brought up Jack Briggs. He was on my radar during the draft. That's why the
Yeah.
name rung a bell. What was the reason for sending him to Double A? Is it just you had
Because I put Barry there
okay?
and I
Because
moved it down.
he didn't get overwhelmed in
No, and
2044
when
on
you
the
see
big
the
league
next
team.
thing that comes in, he's back in AAA now.
Yeah, and
So
he's
I
mashing in Triple A.
yeah, he's doing fine. He was actually with PEBA at the end of last year. But when I got Krebs, I moved him down. And then as I'm restructuring and trying to figure out my minors, all my coaches are decent now, but putting Barry there, I just wanted to see what happened. But he's back with Kenosha now. Yay, Kenosha Kickers. Um, and he'll probably stay there. He is definitely only a call up. If we get an injury in the outfield, I chose not to bring him up. I just made a call up of the other guy. I just got picked him up in the free or minor league free agents. But I wanted to develop a year because Krebs is probably 1 year and done. And Briggs can take Krebs' spot because they're kind of the same player ish. Krebs being quite good. That was the pickup I was most proud of. To be able to sneak in there at the back end and grab Krebs for freaking 6 mil, 7 mil.
Yeah, it was a
You get and killing it, playing everywhere, field bases, leader, all that I needed, everything I needed.
And then last year, Ito played center field. The year before that, he played center field. It looks
Yeah.
like you moved him to left.
Yeah. I made that trade with Justin and got a real center fielder-ish, and even now he's playing out of his damn mind. He's at 270, three something on base percentage, good defense. Ito is a 9 out there and left with a range and an arm. He was always a left fielder, but I had to do something obviously when he came up was my best option there. But that outfield now with Krebs, when Krebs plays right, is they can get it. Their zone rating isn't as great as I thought it would be, but I mean, I'm okay. They're like I think maybe there's 4 errors in the outfield total, you know. And I know they're not getting to some of the balls, but Tito on left is way better than him in center. And the
And that
dude
was
hits.
just
So
because of the defense, because it looks like
yeah,
his zone rating last year was not
yeah,
great.
it's atrocious.
Yeah.
No, he
And
was,
then
but having him at a 9,
2 seasons ago, he did a negative 17 in center field, and that
yeah,
is a killer.
yeah, no, he had to go. He had to go. And and again, making that trade to get a true center fielder, I would like it to be a little higher, but he's flying fine, and he's hitting more than a center fielder. I'm doing that Gallows hurt now again. My Don Washington, Pat Watson, having a Chua play short, and he's even hitting above 200. I'm like, I'm good with, a 10 shortstop, with a 10 range, 10 arm, and a partridge in a pear tree. I'll take that every day. I'm kind of glad Gallo got hurt because thanks for that, Sean. That clunker.
I
19 million a year.
I liked him
I can't believe he didn't
so
pan out.
much. Yeah, it
Yeah, when that
I
happened.
thought that he was going to have to move to second at some point,
Yeah,
but
he was in the lead second baseman, but
yeah,
he couldn't stay healthy long enough for me to even move him.
no, he was a guy that got hammered by a couple of the version changes too, because
Yeah,
like early on in his career, he was a really good player, but it
yeah.
just
It just didn't pan out.
injuries
And but
injuries
again,
hurt him too.
the,
But
the major MLB is littered with players like that.
yeah,
Overpriced dudes that can't stay healthy or not playing the way they should. You
well,
know,
I mean, a guy that all three of us can make fun of a little bit because it's a team that major league team that we don't like, the White Sox. I
oh,
saw
screw them.
former I saw Tim Anderson officially retired from baseball
Yeah,
yesterday, and
I
I
love
mean he's a
that.
guy early on in his career he won a batting title. He was like top guy, and then just fell
Yeah.
off the face of the earth. I think he was
It
a free
happens.
agent ball.
I
Yeah,
mean, we know what happened to Chris Bryant, but
yeah.
I mean, he could have been out when they won the series, one of the greatest players of all time, we thought.
I
Could play
mean they.
literally every position but shortstop and catcher and pitcher,
I mean
right?
he was. It
Anything.
was. It was him and Bryce Harper was
Yep.
were the
They were
two.
them.
It was
And freaking
the two guys.
MVP. And we find out he's got a degenerative disease that just takes his career right off from underneath him, right?
Yeah.
And even played through it for a while. I mean, is he still playing? I can't even, that's how far off from baseball I am.
In fact,
Because
he's still under contract, and they're like, it's one of those things where it's like a dispute
they're
on,
taking care of him.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
trying to get him to be like, hey, look, you can't play anymore. We realize that we have a
Yeah.
contract with you, but we need to come to a settlement because we're not giving you
Yeah.
your full amount anymore if you're not going to play. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the the players'
Sad
union
though,
kind of
man.
like, yeah,
And it happened to Rizzo even. He fell
yeah,
off when he went to the Yankees.
yeah.
I mean, it's the game. What did they say in Moneyball? There's, a time everybody has to say goodbye to the game, either it's at 18 or at 40,
Yep,
you know.
yeah, and
So it happens.
just be happy that you got to play because I mean,
Yeah,
at
and you
least,
got to play a kids game for
yeah,
millions and millions and millions of dollars. A
yeah.
game I gladly played for free for 18 years of my life, right? And would play for free now. You
Yeah.
know, if pickup baseball were a thing and people weren't throwing 98 miles at your head, I would play it. It's a
Oh
different
yeah.
game. You can't play
I mean,
baseball.
I tried
We call that
doing
bar league softball.
yeah, I tried doing that for a while, and I never got the like competitiveness part of it.
Yeah.
And I know that they have more competitive ones and all that type of stuff, but
Well,
I
in New
just
York, they have probably the most competitive pickup baseball league up in Harlem. I
yeah,
went once, and they're good. Don't get me wrong. I have 195 mile an hour fastball. Yes, that much underneath the chin, and I was like, I don't belong here. I'm like, it
yep,
was fun, but there's no regulatory body.
no,
If you piss off, somebody that can throw that hard,
yeah,
I'm okay.
yeah.
It was really fun though for a couple weeks. So
Well, Lenny, we're
yeah,
running out of time on this one, but we'll
yeah.
all as always, open invitation.
Yo,
So
so good to see you
great to
guys.
catch
I love
up
it.
and
Yeah, and
keep
go
doing good things.
Bakersfield and go over.
Yeah.
I love we're competing in a way different way now, stuff. I told you it wasn't that bad down here. We much, but I'd rather see you at the top of the standings, which I'm sure you'll be up there before I am. But um, it's always fun to see you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. See
Yeah.
ya.
Cool.
Take care.
Bye.
From the lakes of Duluth to Havana's warm breeze, Reno's desert lights glow where the crowd's ever free. Shinseki's wars with the bats held high. Yuma's sandlot dreams touch the wide open sky. Palm Springs breathes the heat where the sun always shines. 32 teams united, crossing every line. From the dirt to the diamond, we're chasing the call. The roar of the fans, yeah, we're giving our all. From the dirt to the diamond, we're chasing the call. The roar of the fans, yeah, we're giving our all. Swing for the stars in the PEBA game. Global fire, every city's aflame. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the fight. Planetary extreme, we're igniting the night. Oh, 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 PEBA's the name, PEBA's the name. Oh, 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 we're changing the game. Scottish pipers cheer as the bases are run. New Orleans rhythm swings till the battle is won. Tempe's rolling the dice with the fastball surprise. Toyota's precision lights up in our eyes. Now machines are strong where the dust meets the tree. Florida's golden fields where the champions gleam. From the dirt to the diamond, we're chasing the call. The roar of the fans, yeah, we're giving our all. From the dirt to the diamond, we're chasing the call. The roar of the fans, yeah, we're giving our all. Swing for the stars in the PEBA game. Global fire, every city's aflame. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the fight. Planetary extreme, we're igniting the night. Oh, 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 PEBA's the name, PEBA's the name. Oh, 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 we're changing the game. 32 dreams, one world, one fight. From dusk till dawn, we're burning so bright. Every pitch, every hit, every play in the zone. The Planetary Baseball Alliance, we're never alone. From the fields to the stands, hear the planet unite. PEBA's the spark and we're taking flight. Swing for the stars in the PEBA game. Global fire, every city's aflame. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the fight. Planetary extreme, we're igniting the night. Oh, 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 PEBA's the name, PEBA's the name. Oh, 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 we're changing the game. So raise up your gloves, let the banners fly high. From San Juan to Kalamazoo, we're reaching the sky. Planetary Extreme Baseball Alliance, where the legends are born. Swing for the stars, let the world hear our roar.